Authorities in Sudan say they foiled an attempted coup. Prime Minister Abdalla Hamdok says the coup was organized in and outside the military establishment. I'm joined now by Africa analyst Thembisa Fakude. Thembisa, good evening to you and thank you so much for your time. Look, does it make it any less or more difficult to deal with when it's a coup that is coming from within some of the military elements versus when it's completely coming from without?
Well, first of all, let us remember that what the government said is this is an attempted coup, and it happened overnight. But there are a lot of people in Sudan who are skeptical of those reports. Many are saying this is just a small screen. As you know, that Sudan has been facing a lot of challenges, particularly protests from different parts of Sudan. And some people and sources that we've spoken to in Sudan closer to power are saying that this is just a smoke screen to give the military government, even though it's a combined military and civilian government, power to institute a state of emergency so that they could prevent further protests, particularly in Khartoum.
Have we been building up to this point where the government seeks to give itself more power?
Yes, well, there are a lot of contenders to power, and I think that's what is creating the current challenge. I mean, the man that's been touted as the possible leader of the coup is Abdulbaki Bakrawi. He is known to have had some differences with one of the leaders of the military, known as Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo. He is the main man who is currently one of the most powerful within the coalition. And the reports that we are receiving is that disagreement has led to a number of politicking, particularly within the governing coalition at the moment, to quell the protests, but at the same time also to quell those who are seeking to replace the current military leadership within the coalition government.
Of course, all of these efforts or initiatives would not be taking place if there wasn't a sense that there was some kind of leadership gap or vacuum or a lacking, that there's something lacking where leadership is concerned.
Well, they've got something called the Sovereign Council, which consists of the civilian representation and the military representation. But the challenge in Sudan is that if you were to have elections in Sudan, chances are the military might just take over because the civilians are not united. You've got all of these, small little parties forming, individuals actually, forming the civilians' representation within the current Sovereign Council. So you have no choice in Sudan at the moment but to live with what you have, which is the Sovereign Council, a government consisting of both military and the civilians. And the military, unfortunately, knows that they have the power and they can continue dictating the political agenda in Sudan. So the civilians and the general populace in Sudan have no choice at the moment but to support all those efforts of trying to create, at least establish a stable Sudan and resuscitate the economy, which has suffered greatly over the past couple of months.
Let's talk a bit about what has been driving and fueling these protests by Sudan residents.
Well, mainly the major contributor to the protest has been the economic downturn since the ousting of the former president of Sudan, Omar Hassan al-Bashir. And that has created a lot of strife within Sudan. There's high unemployment rate. The activity, actually, economic activity has drawn to a standstill. The oil exports have reduced, coupled with, of course, the slump in terms of the oil prices, which also impacted negatively on the Sudanese economy. So all of those things have led to a situation in Sudan where particularly the young people are kind of disillusioned on what's going to be happening. Many were expecting that the ousting of Omar al-Bashir was going to bring some kind of job opportunities and better economic situation in Sudan. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened. Instead, you have seen the military digging in its heels and nothing has moved on. And there's now criticism on the current Prime Minister of Sudan, Abdalla Hamdok, who was also expected that he was going to resuscitate the economy. Him being an economist and has worked very closely with a number of international bodies, and they were expecting that his presence or his leadership was going to attract new opportunities in Sudan, but unfortunately that has not happened yet.
Thembisa Fakude is an Africa analyst. Let me thank you so much for your time tonight.